It's Tuesday, November 26. This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. Jamaicans will experience interruptions in their electricity supply over the next 2 weeks. The Jamaica Public Service says the breaks will happen as the company undertakes the final phase of testing for the newly constructed 190 megawatt natural gas power plant in Old Harbour Bay, St. Catherine. The tests are being conducted ahead of the plant being fully integrated into the national electricity grid. Noting that the plant will be tested at varying levels of output, JPS said the tests are aimed at ensuring that the system responds appropriately, whether the plant is fully or partially on the grid. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is advising members of the public that we are in the influenza flu season, and it's reiterating that the flu is to be taken seriously as it can lead to pneumonia and blood infections and can cause severe symptoms including diarrhea and seizures in children. Influenza, commonly referred to as the flu, is an acute viral infection that spreads easily from person to person, mainly by coughing, sneezing, and through close contact. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jacqueline Mackenzie has cautioned the public.
I would want to also caution the public that the flu can worsen chronic medical conditions such as heart or lung disease. Persons at highest risk of dangerous complications from the flu are infants and young children, adults 60 years and older, pregnant women, and persons with chronic medical conditions or weakened immune systems.
The ministry has made available the flu vaccine free of cost in the public health system to high-risk members of the population, including healthcare workers, children and elderly with chronic illnesses, pregnant women, individuals who are institutionalized or in state care, and non-health frontline workers.
At the same time, we want to remind members of the public to practice good hygiene, including washing hands with soap and water and covering the mouth and nose while coughing or sneezing, which will help to prevent the transmission of the virus. Persons with the flu should get adequate rest, avoid close contact, and avoid touching eyes, nose, and mouth.
The governments of Jamaica and the United States have revised the authorization process for the Air Marshal Agreement, which deals with foreign in-flight security officers on overnight flights or grounded emergencies. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang and U.S. Ambassador to Jamaica, Donald Tapia, signed the amended agreement during a ceremony at the Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay, St. James on Friday. Dr. Chang said the amendments will strengthen the security and safety of persons on board chartered and scheduled flights in both jurisdictions, as well as facilitate U.S. federal air marshals on short-notice missions to Jamaica. Jamaica and the United States signed the Air Marshal Agreement in November 2008, with the first mission taking place in January 2009. Effective December 31, Robin Sykes will step down as Technical Director of the Financial Investigations Division. According to the Ministry of Finance and Public Service, Sykes will be succeeded by Deputy Commissioner of Police Selvin Hay. Mr. Sykes has held the position of Chief Technical Director since November 2014, making him the longest-serving person in that position in the division's history. He has indicated that he will be taking up a position at the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, while acknowledging the right of persons to earn a living in the taxi industry, has singled out taxi operators when warning that a zero-tolerance approach or clampdown on disorder would take effect early next year. He made the comments while addressing the recent Jamaica Labour Party's annual conference.
So I have told the Commissioner, and the Commissioner is already putting in place those plans, that Halfway Tree must be one of the first places in which the policy of zero tolerance for breaches of the Road Traffic Act and all the other laws for public order must be instituted.
The Prime Minister warned that motorists who breached the Road Traffic Act with impunity by disobeying traffic lights would face stiff fines with the introduction of new technology to monitor breaches.
It is not always that there will be a policeman at every stoplight. But believe me when I tell you that next year there will be a program to have smart technology, including cameras at every single stoplight in the corporate area and in rural townships and urban townships where stoplights exist. The NWA has now submitted to me a plan which will incorporate the private sector to build out the number of stoplights and smart technology throughout our city. The law has been modified to allow for prosecution of persons who have been detected by electronic means.
The Prime Minister also revealed that he has had talks with Commissioner of Police Anthony Anderson with a view to designating zero-tolerance areas in the country. He said that critical public spaces in Jamaica, such as Halfway Tree, would be high on the list for attention. In the past, the police have embarked on several initiatives to bring order to public spaces, such as Halfway Tree and downtown Kingston, but those measures have usually collapsed in a matter of days or weeks. The Police Federation says members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force are subjecting themselves to abuse from members of the public because of fear of reports being made to the Independent Commission of Investigations, Indecom. The Federation's voiced concern follows the circulation of videos over the weekend showing members of the public obstructing and assaulting cops carrying out their duties. General Secretary of the Federation, Tamika Thomas, said police officers have become fearful of carrying out their duties. Recent videos show police officers in altercations with members of the public who are resisting arrest or disobeying directives from the police. The US dollar is being traded at Jamaican $137.55, down by 67 cents. That's according to the Bank of Jamaica's daily foreign exchange trading summary. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $103.40, down from $103.93, while the British pound sterling is being traded at $174.90, down from $176.52. In regional news, Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit is threatening legal action against Al Jazeera's documentary, which alleges he sold diplomatic visas. In return, Skerrit also alleges that the news outlet is working as a foreign agent of the opposition United Workers' Party, the UWP. The UWP has accused Skerrit of selling diplomatic passports and using the monies to fund the ruling Dominica Labour Party, the DLP. In Diplomats for Sale, Al Jazeera's investigative unit also reveals Skerrit allegedly took hundreds of thousands of dollars for his 2014 election campaign from an Iranian businessman named Alreza Monfared in exchange for an ambassadorship for Dominica to Malaysia. Undercover filming reveals how former Dominican Prime Minister Oliver Safrin offered to broker a secret deal to hand out an ambassadorship in Asia for fees totaling $470,000. The revelation comes days ahead of a general election in Dominica on December 6, in which Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit is up for re-election.
I have been informed that Al Jazeera intends to do a documentary about alleged sale of diplomatic passports in Dominica. The allegations which are being made were sent to me. I noticed, as you will notice when the story is broadcast, that the allegations are the very same ones that Linton, the UWP, and Mass in the Cemetery have been making up and repeating for several years. It was clear to me, as it will be to you, that either Linton, the UWP directly, or their foreign collaborators provided this business information to Al Jazeera for political reasons. People who libel me will find themselves before the courts.
Scarrett says what is more concerning is the recklessness which the UWP is running with the story.
Linton is desperate. And this desperation means that he and his agents and supporters will do all in their power to legitimize their lies by using foreign agents and organizations. And Al Jazeera is now one of them. It saddens me as a Dominican and as Prime Minister to tell you that the UWP is trying to weave a negative narrative of a Dominica in chaos. They are going to great lengths to spread this false narrative in an attempt to destabilize Dominica and to make the way for foreigners to come and take over our election process. Understand what I'm telling you this evening. Election observers in a country are not new. But these are not observers I am talking about. The UWP is trying to get external influences to either take over the national electoral process or stop elections and hand over to Linton.
CARICOM has defended the region's electoral system amid calls for electoral reform. There have been calls for reform in Dominica from the opposition. But St. Lucia's ambassador to the Organization of American States, Anton Edmund, says CARICOM has always had a strong tradition of fair elections.
All electoral reform is complex. We welcome efforts at electoral reform within the framework of the governing principles and processes provided for in the constitutions of any member state. The framework for democracy and the practices of its principles exist in Dominica, including freedom of assembly and expression. We expect that all parties will act within the rule of law and respect for the constitutional order. We note that there is no deadly or widespread violence as Dominica prepares to hold elections within the current provisions of its constitution. Chair, the Caribbean has always had a strong tradition of democracy, notably free and fair elections. Considering previous electoral missions in the region, we know and are confident that the Organization of American States as an institution understands this.
In Trinidad and Tobago, the Prison Officers Association has welcomed the government's decision to decriminalize marijuana. They believe this could ease the prison system. TV6's Vanessa Cutting reports.
Data from the judiciary indicates that from 2007 to 2018, a total of 84,668 cases came before the magistracy under the Dangerous Drugs Act for marijuana-related offences. Roughly 85% of these cases were for possession alone. President of the Prisons Officers Association, Sharon Richards, believes decriminalization will go a long way to improving the #1 issue at the nation's prisons.
We look at the move and the potential for the move to remove some of those remandees within our environment, the remand environment. As you will know that we manage overcrowding, and a lot of these cases are for persons who have simple matters. The marijuana being one of those matters that is very prevalent.
Richards notes, however, that in the short to medium term, the only thing that can solve this problem is if the judiciary system was made more efficient.
If the bill takes a retroactive effect, then it might impact on some of those cases. I don't know, I cannot tell you where, in terms of time, where most of those matters reside, right? But if the bill has some sort of retroactive effect, yes, it can remove some of those persons from within the prison.
Richards adds many persons in the system commit offences due to underlying issues like addiction.
We have always said that there should be more alternatives to imprisonment. There are matters that don't really need, when maybe don't need to stay in court, and different facilities can be prescribed or ordered by trial judges, trial magistrates, and so on, as a means of providing more alternatives.
In sports, we kick off with football. Technical Director for reigning the Costa Cup champions, Clarendon College, Lenworth teacher Hyde, says he is not concerned about his team's form heading into this Saturday's final against Dinthill Technical at the Montego Bay Sports Complex. CC suffered their first defeat of the season on Saturday after they were beaten 1-0 by Kingston College in the final of the Championships Cup at the National Stadium. Clarendon College will be hunting for their 9th hold on the Costa Cup trophy, while Dinthill will be seeking their 3rd title. And now on to the sport of kings. The Jamaica Racing Commission JRC Jockeys Training School has produced another batch of apprentice riders. After 24 weeks of intense training, 19 of the 21 students who started as class of 2019 graduated and received their certificates at a prize-giving ceremony on the grounds of the JRC's offices at Winchester Road in Kingston on Thursday, November 21. With the receipt of certificates following the completion of a training program, which was divided into 2 terms, the 19 apprentices are off to the racetrack to begin to perfect their skills in competitive races. And that's the news on PBCJ. Do remember, we are the People's Station.